There's one place, it's
I gotta keep stretching and getting tired.
big old.
Before you do that,
Yes, yes.
keep running, shoot, shut it up. Pretty heavy.
I think it's almost dead, but the branch is way out on the street. Do you ever just trim a tree?
We do. I've got-
It's on the front. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like this. I'll send it. Yeah, oh, it's looking better than it did last year.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah. 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 Would you big the stuff out too? You have it, yeah. That's a big machine. One of them. Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah, well, we need to do it. I mean, there's so many different.
It's 6 o'clock. Everybody can stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to call this evening meeting to order. Just a note, we are working off of an amended agenda tonight. First, we have a proclamation for Constitution Week. You want to make the presentation first?
Well, I'll just do a constitutional minute. I'm Renee Slinker, and I'm with Meredithine chapter of Daughters of the American Revolution. And I am the Constitution Week Committee Chair. And so I'm here to promote awareness of our Constitution throughout the community. And we are doing this, DAR is doing this all over the United States. So, and September 17th, 1787 was the adoption of the Constitution. But in 1956, President Eisenhower passed into law Constitution Week, which is to be celebrated annually September 17th to the 23rd. So I want everyone to fly their flags and share with their families, especially their children, the importance of our Constitution and the freedoms it provides. Thank you very much. And would you take a picture?
Read this real quick.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Whereas September 17th, 2023 marks the 236th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, I, Mayor Lee House, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the Mayor of the City of Paola in the City of Paola, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. And we're here to set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Paola to be affixed this 13th day of September of the year of our Lord 2023.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. I don't think everybody's done.
Okay. here on the desk, we have a kind of a sheet for anybody to sign in. If you haven't signed in yet, if you don't mind doing that, we can keep track of our minutes. Thank you. Thanks, Kathy. First, we have the consent agenda. Did anyone on the council have any questions or comments on the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion?
I so move to approve the consent agenda as presented and authorize the mayor to sign.
I second.
Mail,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed. Next, we have comments from the public. Just as a reminder, when addressing the council, please step to the podium and state your name and address so that it can be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. And please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less and to items not on the agenda. And we do it in no particular order, so.
Evening,
Hello.
Matt Creaswell, Creaswell out the Ornoff Road at 302 North Silver. And I'm here today about a zoning violation ordinance that was applied to me in regard to a flag I had out in front of our business. And one, I guess I don't know what we have against flags. So curious to find out at some point from somebody what that is. And the way this ordinance is wrote, it was implemented in '98. I don't know that it currently holds true to some of the things that we have going today, especially with signage, advertising. I think it needs to go back to Planning Commission for review. I think that there's some other options available. It's an interpretation of it. So the feather flag is what I was, whatever I see my violation for. I need to know the difference between a regular flag that appears to be okay because we have multiple all over town. I'm not referring to the American flag, anything like that. Talking about just regular flags at businesses. Could somebody give me a difference, a distinction between the two, if we could, so I can understand why I'm in violation and compared to other things? The way a business is addressed with said zoning violation, nuisance is one thing, but maybe a zoning violation, the verbiage in the letter, talk about threatening. It's everything about, prosecution and penalties, and instead of maybe how we can support and promote local businesses. It appears to be just the opposite, this violation. This is the flag that is not an eyesore, or whatever reason is bad. But they encourage banners be posted on T-posts out in the yard. And I think we can drive around town and see those all over the place, and after they're out there for several weeks, we know how that looks. It looks pretty bad. Ours is just out when they're open. We have our music in the market, flag, banner, soft fabric sign, whatever we want to call it, all over town. I don't know if we just have a do as we say, not as we do policy, or what the difference is. But I'd like to maybe get some answers to the differences there. I want to continue to do business in town, and this flag is just one small thing. But, it's the principle of the point. So I don't know how you guys would like to address it. Sure, I'd like my flag. I'm sure there's other businesses that would too. There's multiple businesses that put them up, and then they get pulled like weeds. And I don't like to think of our businesses as weeds in this community. Hopefully we can get something addressed, changed with the planning commission. I don't know what you guys will want for suggestions, but we'll be open to seeing some change. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else?
Rusty Gherkin, we've got the Paola Hardware Store, 104 West Piankashaw here in town. My family and I do. We also received a zoning violation regarding the U-Haul business that we just opened up. It's been moved around town several places. I don't know because of this or what's gone on, but I just asked the planning board to see if they can maybe look at the zoning regulations. They're considering U-Haul as a heavy use retail, which I don't quite agree with. I think they could probably X that out of the zoning regulations. That's what I'm here asking for today, if that can be possible. My choice is I can go under a CUP, and if somebody wants to personally come talk to me about a CUP, I'd love to talk to you about what I don't like about CUPs. I just won't do it, so I'll shut the U-Haul business down if that's the route we're gonna go. We just won't have one in town. We'll move it out to the rental, and we'll go about our business. So I do also want to say that we have several other locations in the state of Kansas and Missouri that were U-Haul and Penske dealers. And so far, we got 6 locations with Penske and U-Haul, and we don't have to have any type of zoning regulations in those towns. And they're much larger. Some of them are smaller than Paola. So I just question as to why we're targeting U-Haul dealerships and Penske. I can see if I was doing, you know, semi-rentals or something like that, you know, that makes sense to be classified as heavy use, but in my opinion, U-Haul is not heavy use zoning. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Rusty. Anyone else?
My name is Sandra Priestel, with Priestel Outdoor and Off-Road. One of my concerns, that I kind of have is when reading, said ordinances, whether it be the sign ordinance or some of the other ones, I didn't see anything in there that supported small businesses. I feel like, it immediately says in the ordinance for the signs that basically, if you have a sign out for a said purpose as to sell or promote your business, it's not allowed. So, I guess some clarification on that. What, you know, us small businesses, we want to be here in town to support our fellow citizens. And, you know, we feel like it's hard to do that when we feel like we're not getting any support from the city. It's just my concern. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
My name is Paul Scruggs. I live on 31622 Oak Grove. And I originally wasn't going to speak, but by coincidence, Matt and Rusty spoke. I was just going to listen, but it's kind of a hot button in the theme. My wife and I moved out here, and well, we visited the first time in 2004 and moved out less than a year later to Miami County. I love the ruralism, I love the people. We tried to get really into the community. My wife ran the farmers market for 12 years with Debbie Duncan. But I bought a building the first year I was here on the square and sold it in less than a year later because of these regulations. And my point is, and I've had too many conversations with friends during coffee shops and coffees that we have in the morning and dinner parties that, oh, I like to invest in Paola, but the regulations are just too much. I myself wanted to invest here recently, something on the square. I'm retired, but I tell you, it's a warning signal. I've heard it, whether reading the paper about the North School or the gentleman who wanted to buy the event center. I'm from a small town in Illinois, and one of the reasons we moved here because it's so much like Princeton, Illinois. But we face the same dynamics, and if you don't promote the small businesses, if you don't, you know, we got 4 or 5 buildings on the square now for sale. It's just an environment. It's a very hard problem waiting to happen. So I appreciate your time. I wasn't going to speak, but man, I'll let you guys deal with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? I will just say, if anything needs to be followed up about, somebody will be in touch. We do care about our businesses. I personally very much care about the square, and I know all these guys do too. So if we need to communicate, or if we need to revisit something, I'm not saying it'll change, but we can at least discuss. Okay,
One thing also, all of our numbers are on the city website, our phone numbers. So if you want to talk to any of the councilmen individually, feel free to call any of our numbers and we'll have a discussion with you on it.
if there are no other comments, we'll move on to budget.
I made these work hard enough if we need the council information. We're handing out your numbers.
Makes it even easier.
Yeah. All right, so next item is the budget, and first, we need a motion to open the public hearing to exceed the revenue neutral rate.
I move to open the public hearing. Let's see, regarding the RNC. Regarding the revenue neutral rate, RNR.
I'll second.
Snail,
Aye.
Ace. Aye. Peckman.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed. Is there anyone that would like to speak during the revenue neutral rate hearing?
Joe McMahon, 2 Preston Drive, Phil, Kansas. Madam Mayor, some of these questions may be directed towards your staff. Is that okay?
Mhm.
I'm going to go over this sheet right here, which is the hearing sheet that's got all the numbers on it. So that's what I'm going to go over. Just a couple of things. And if you think this is for Ms. Shannon or Ms. Marla, you know, I can certainly address them if you want me to. If we go to debt service, and again, these are just some clarifications that I wanted to look at. And you go to the 400,000, which is 4.8 million. Where does that number derive from? I just couldn't find it in the budget.
What 400,000? Where is it?
On the debt service, the second
Under
one
debt
towards the
service.
top.
Oh, okay.
For the tax that we need to collect, that actually covers, there's 2 bond payments that are not covered by transfers in the budget, the 2014 series and the 2016 series.
Okay.
So that is what covers those 2 payments.
Okay. The second thing I had is, it appears to me that the ad valorem tax will account for about 24% of the total budget that you're presenting today. Is that a true statement? About that number? Okay. I've seen our mill levy, which is a whole different story, not the mill levy, but the valuation went from 61 to $82 million for the city, and that's a 21 million. I think that's a different conversation, probably with our state legislature that we need to have. And that's a 27% increase. I think that needs to be visited by our state representatives to be a more equitable way. And one of my favorite phrases is, you know, we treat houses as income. And I don't think in the last 2 years, any of ours incomes went up 21%. You know, as far as that goes. But then our taxes are based on that 82 million. I have real issues with how the state determines their valuation, and I have real issues on the whole the valuation process. That hopefully those state legislatures will get up there and get more equitable instead of putting everything on a home. But that's my soapbox. I'll jump off it real quick. The next thing that I look at is when you get down to under the bonds, the other bonds. In 2022, it was 0. Then it was 3.1 million and 3.1 million. So on that clarification.
I believe that's our temporary notes that we had to get prior to getting our bond from the sales tax. Yes.
Okay, like I said, just some clarification. And it appears to me to reach the revenue neutral, the budget would have to be cut by about 472,000. Is that a correct number?
I have 432-ish.
Close
So
enough.
pretty
for me.
close, pretty close.
Close.
Good math.
Close enough for me. The only thing that I would behoove council to do is, I'm gonna take my instance here for a second, is between all the tax entities that there is, went up about $500. My house is, the taxes that I pay on now is $5,000 is what I pay. I think when I got into the house, it was probably around $2,000. I've done a lot of work to the house, and I understand I've done a lot of work to it. But I want all the governing entities and the tax entities to think about this for a second, and also look at the revenue neutral as kind of a strategy. And I'm gonna back up a little bit, is this, let's fast forward 10 years. And my tax bill goes from 5,000 to 10,000. And I'm looking at a house that it's gonna cost me over $1,000 between everything I got, just to live in. And I'm not talking any payments or anything else like that. And seeing also security's at 3%, 3.4 for lucky, to go up, and some everything else. It gets to be an issue. All I ask is that the council looks as revenue neutral, not so much as a strategy, and that strategy being, if we could hit, or if the council could hit revenue neutral every second or third year. And I know it's tough. I'm not gonna, and I got stuff I'm gonna talk about during the budget process, not appropriate for the R&R. But if you could hit it every 2, maybe 3 years, and then all of a sudden you take that look. So as you're going up, and then you knock it down a little bit, and then it starts to go up. One thing I did find out that when you get into the retired world, that's who you spend most of your time with, is retirees. But there is some people out there, and I talked to one, he don't live in this town. His taxes are approaching $10,000. And his taxes were $7,500, now they're going to $7,000. Now that being said, he's going to move into a assisted living for that. But I don't think anybody has any idea that, let's put it this way, nobody wants to take a senior citizen out of their house, including the council here and everybody else. And all I ask is that in the future, that when you look at the R&R, okay, that you look at it as a strategy, multi-year strategy with that. So that's all I had. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, staff.
Is there anyone else for the R&R hearing? Seeing no one, is there a motion to close? Oh, sorry.
She's not slow.
Okay.
Bobby Devery, 20100 West 335th. My husband and I own a shop down on Osage Street. He's had it for over 40 years. I mean, it's been a business there for a long time. I don't know when Joe built the building, but it was a long time ago. With you guys going up and not staying revenue neutral, we are going to be paying just the city of Paola over $1,000 in property taxes on that old shop this year. We want to stay in business. We're like these other people. We want to stay in business. We want to stay in Paola. We like being in Paola. It's handy to go to O'Reilly's and Napa from our shop. So, and lots of parts. But you guys have the highest mill levy of any entity that we are being taxed by this year. So just want you, looking at this, you guys have the highest mill levy of anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? If not, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing regarding the R&R.
I second.
Mail?
Aye.
Case? Aye. Heckman?
Aye.
Shields?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed, close the public hearing. All right, now we consider resolution number 2023-017, exceeding the revenue neutral rate. Discussion on that? Guys have anything? Comments? Okay. If there are no comments, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-017 to levy a property tax rate exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the city of Paola.
I'll second that.
Smale?
Aye.
Ace. Aye. Heckman.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye. Okay, motion passed. Next, the public hearing for the proposed 2024 Paola City budget. First, we need a motion to open the public hearing.
I move to open the motion to open the public hearing regarding proposed 2024 budget.
I'll second.
Ismail.
Aye.
Ace.
Aye.
Heckman.
Aye.
Shields.
All right, motion passed. Is there anyone that has anything regarding the proposed 2024 Paola City budget?
Okay, if I could maybe.
Yeah.
I have a couple of little
Sure,
notes I would like
yep.
to just throw out there, just so everybody knows. We did, prepare the budget, ending with a 41.858 mil. The general fund, the debt service, library, and employee benefits does take up that, those mill levy funds. The budget authority for the general fund is 5.9 million. Needing an ad valorem tax of 2.3, with a difference of 3.6 million. So that means, there's other revenue coming in besides that, tax. The debt service is 1.8 million with $400,000 needed for those two bonds that aren't covered. Library needs 400,000 with 299, for taxes. They have gone to a different kind of system. They don't, they're more the payroll-free library, so that's why they need more of the mill levy. And the employee benefits is 1.6 million with 365,000 needed for taxes. Employee costs are definitely not going down, so that that does have a lot of transfers in it, so that's why that mill levy can be 4.4 instead of much higher. Another point of interest would be probably the wastewater fund. That is at 1.9 million in expenditures. That is only covered by the rates that we set. So that is not covered under the mill levy. And we also have the water utility at 2.2 million, also an enterprise fund covered by rates. So yeah, there's not a whole lot. The employees' insurance and fuel drove that mill levy up a bit. So there's really not a whole lot extra in our budget. Yeah, do you have any other thoughts?
No, personnel takes over 50% of our general fund budget. And we did some pay adjustments. So with that, our employee benefits also has to increase because it comes to that. And like she said, we do transfer out of each budget into employee benefits as well to help cover that. So it's not all coming out of the mill. So she did a great job explaining it.
So just for even more clarification, you're saying, like for the general fund, for example, 5.9 million, you could just get from the property tax, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
But only 2.3 comes from property tax. You have 3.6 is from other revenue.
Yes.
And the city suffers from inflation the same as anybody else does. If we go to buy salt this winter for salt in the streets, which everybody wants done, it's gonna be way higher than we've ever paid before. For the city to operate, it's got to try to absorb as much of this as they can, but they've got to raise the budget just so that they can pay the expenses for the services that we all want and need. It's kind of a no-win situation, unfortunately.
Was there anybody, I think JR, you want to speak again?
If that what comments I believe are more appropriate for the budget hearing is, on a couple of things here, is, that, I was fortunate to watch the budget process in the last several years. I mean, not the years, excuse me, last several months. And I thought the council did a good job of listening. I thought the council did a good job of understanding the budget. I thought Ms. Marlowe and Ms. Shannon presented what I thought was fairly, austere numbers and looking at them. I firmly believe that Ms. Shannon and Ms. Marlowe are cleaning up some messes that was left for them. I do know budgets and I've dealt with government. And so I can kind of, sit there and take a look at it. I was glad to see that budget proposals by city staff back the blue. And unfortunately, backing the blue takes green and it takes money. And I was able to see that our officers were able to get their money up to where where they need to be compensated for that. On the other end, again, I'm going to reiterate probably the revenue neutral. I really would like us to sit there and take a long, hard look at it. Another thing that I thought that council that could save us money, and I think once we save money, we just kind of try to reduce it and understand how things work. I think the council, I believe with Shannon said you had to write a check to the county and for them to take over dispatch. And I also got to realize is that if the city, because I've dealt with this, is the city decides not to do their own dispatch, the county has to, and they have to do it for free of charge. They don't charge people, they don't charge this work, they don't charge anybody. So that's a free service that us taxpayers pay for through our county taxes. And that I think we really need to take a long, hard look at. And there's some other advantages that us as county taxpayers, besides being city taxpayers, that I would like to see us look at least at some point in the future. But I thought all in all, if it was done well, I think Ms. Shannon and Ms. Muller, and you are cleaning up some messes, and you don't have to say which ones you are, because you know, as far as that goes. But there was some cost cutting. But again, I still say that at the end of the day, that you look at the revenue neutral. And I will touch on two more things, and then I will get off one, and I'll jump on the soapbox real quick here, is the state of Kansas has a valuation system that has some real issues in it. And I'm not an expert on it, but I had a front row seat to reappraisal. I had a front row seat to all this. A lot of people don't realize is that I worked in the state stuff for like 10 years on behalf of Miami County. So I was up there when they were doing that, and when they were doing the 911 and everything else like that. So I got to know somewhat how the system works. But the way that we tax and we value really needs to change. And I was reading the other day that we got the valuation and we're working on that. And they're gonna come up and they're gonna say, you know what, we're gonna put a tax lid on. And it sounds good, it really, really does. But you know how long they've been doing tax lids? 11 years longer than you've been alive. That's not worth, I mean, Ms. Shannon, I'm talking 40 years. In fact, when you've seen it.
Yeah.
And the first one was a guy named Peter John, and your budgets are structured today as a vestige from the old tax lids. Guarantee you. I guarantee you that they will. But one thing is that I moved the commission as part as the budget process and moving forward is I've never seen the state legislature and the locals ever sit down together on behalf of our residents and say, what is the best way that we can come up with an equitable? Because you guys, as agents of the state don't send this gentleman out, Mr. Corbin out, right? City does. The last time that my street was plowed, one state of Kansas plowed my street, it was the city. Took my grandkids to the pool. I'm not saying it was the best 2 hours of my life that I ever but state don't do that. So you guys do a lot of just basic services that the state doesn't, and I've always wondered how come there wasn't more of a combination of working together instead of being a father, son, or a parent-kid relationship. Hopefully that'll change. There's a legislature now that calls herself a statesman, which I firmly believe she is, and if she's true to her word, she will reach out to the councils and to the city and do that. With that, also, for you to have a diversified tax base, you gotta have these guys behind me. They have to be in here. And one thing, and I did work statewide for 2 years on economic development. And what these people said behind here was exactly what I heard. And the number one thing is what our businesses want. They want to feel welcomed. and they want to feel part of the community. I think everybody knows that they have to pay that fair share. But since I'm in a former life, I kind of looked at that. And the biggest complaint that I got when we became statewide stuff is, oh, you guys don't welcome us. I
Yeah,
don't know who we did, Ms. Fagan was there. So having that welcoming, and then again, I'm treading lightly budget, not budget here, is you take a look at it. And for the gentleman back here and the lady to come in and take their time out, but that's kind of where I'm at. I'm gonna shut up and sit down. I'm gonna jump off my 3 soapboxes that I'm on, right? Sit back.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
One comment you made about the state and the cities working together, it never has been a great relationship. Speaking as former chief of police, the state would implement us having to spend tons of money on upgrading software and different stuff, but yet they didn't allow us any money. And if you look back into the history, the state used to give us some money off different kinds of taxes and stuff. A lot of that has been taken back by the state and not given us any way of taking care of it. And just to give you a little quick story, because I've been around here for a lot of years. I had a guy running for council one time, and he came up to me and my assistant chief, we were up on the square, and he says, when I get on the council, things are gonna change. The spending's not gonna be like it is now. And I said, okay, whatever. And that was Ron Yeakel. A year after he got elected and was on the council, he says, Chief, I don't know how you guys do what you do on the money that you got. You don't realize how much it takes to run a city. There's not a surplus. I mean, they cut things, it's all necessities, and we have to pay the same inflation and stuff. And like I say, if you really look at the history and stuff, it's hard for these guys to be able to make a workable budget and not raise. We try to always stay with the mill levy at least. And I understand why they have to try to do that.
No, that's
Because
all.
nobody wants to lose services.
No, and that's why we got everybody on board, and I'll jump on the soapbox. State's sitting on $3.7 million. They just don't know what to do with it. Just start rebating us back. I think everybody over here, hey, energy, we will find it to be very, very well spent. So.
Yeah,
All right, thank you, David.
thank you. Was there anyone else? The budget hearing? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
second,
Hill,
Aye.
Hayes, Peckman,
aye,
Shields.
Aye. Motion passed. All right, consider adoption of the 2024 Paola City budget. Stephanie, is there anything else you wanted to add? We've talked about it hours upon hours. Anyone on council have any questions or comments on the budget? I know the department heads do a good job. I know they have wish list items they have to check off, mark off every year that they're not gonna get to yet, so. I know you guys work hard to keep your budgets on track too. And we appreciate that.
We're the dream killers. Yeah. We red line a lot.
You haven't had the red pens come out.
when I took office as county clerk in 93, the county valuation was 99 million. I believe it's over 800 million now. Services do not stop. Public health, public safety are the biggest issues. And we've got to keep those up. And I agree with the mayor. A lot of our departments didn't get their Christmas toys. So that's all I have.
If there aren't any other comments or questions, is there a motion?
I move to adopt the 2024 Paola City budget. in the amount of 15,864,481 pursuant to the notice of public budget hearing published in the Miami County Republic on August 16th, 2023, and authorize the necessary signatures.
I'll second that.
Snail,
Aye.
Case. Beckman,
Aye.
Shield.
Aye.
Motion passed.
And before you all leave, if you wouldn't mind signing, there, Lee has a paper for the budget that I have to send to town here. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's very good.
It's probably, okay, we'll find it. Okay. Next up, new business. Water system emergency response plan review, resolution number 2023-018.
Your Honor, this is an annual occurrence. We adopted a emergency response plan in 2019. And the state required us to review that annually and do any updates to it. So we have done that, changed some contact information. So it has been brought up to date. It can be approved the resolution.
Anybody have any questions on that? If not, is there a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2023-018, City of Paola Water System Emergency Response Plan, and authorize the necessary signatures.
A second.
Snail.
Aye.
Case. Beckman.
Aye.
Shield.
Aye.
Motion passed. Standard traffic ordinance number 3212. Housekeeping.
This is, yep, we've adopted this since '93. Pretty much they changed, one of the sections in there, 194. Through House Bill 2216 has removed the mandatory, term of confinement for the first and second time offenders driving on a suspended license if the offender's license was suspended because of failure to pay a fine or failure to appear. They were trying not to cause more hardship on the people that were not able to pay and didn't want them to lose their jobs for the first or second offense. So that was adjusted in the wording in the ordinance, and that was pretty much the only change that we needed to make for the SEO.
You have any questions on that? If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 3212, incorporating by reference the 50th edition of the STO with certain omissions and amendments, and authorize the necessary signatures.
I'll second.
Snail.
Aye.
Case. Beckman.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
Motion passed, thank you. Uniform Public Offense Code, ordinance number 3213.
This one had another change that we amend every year. So I think it was in 2019, the council increased the tobacco age to 21 before the state did. So now the state has increased the age to 21 as well, and it is reflected in the book. So we do not need to make that amendment in our ordinance any longer.
Any questions on this one? If not, is there a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance number 3213, incorporating by reference the 39th edition of the UPOC with certain omission and amendments, and authorize the necessary signatures. That's right.
Got it. I second.
Snail.
Aye.
Hayes. Beckman.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. And next is the renewal of the housing incentive program, ordinance number 3214. This is always one that's very well received.
Yes, ma'am. So as discussed at work study, our housing incentive renewal expires on September 30th of this year. We have had multiple variations of this. We are proposing to renew just the most recent current version. So no amendments to it. We'd like for it to go for another year to expire in September 30th of 2024. The previous housing incentive was used by 18 houses within the city of Paola. And the ordinance is attached for your reviewing as well.
The been a good program. I can't remember how long we've been doing it. I know we've tweaked it a little bit here and there, but we've been doing it for a long time.
Since I've been here, so I wanna say 14 at least,
Mhm.
2014.
Mhm. And housing needs are still an issue, which is good.
Good program.
Mhm. Any other questions on this or comments? If not, is there a motion?
I move to accept ordinance 3214, renewing the new housing construction incentive program.
I'll second it.
Sam?
Aye.
Ace? Hickman?
Aye.
Shields?
Aye.
All right, motion passed. I do think last year, at least since I've been here, was a record year for new houses. Yeah.
Rush and Coleman
Mhm.
definitely helped us.
Yeah, yeah. But there were a couple of infill lots too. That was good to
Absolutely,
see.
and Rockwood has been filling up pretty quick. So
Yes.
That's good to see those get filled up after sitting for so long.
Yes. All right, next, Paola Family Pool renovations, bid acceptance.
Let me discuss that. Okay, so bear with me, this is gonna be a little long and I apologize. So the city of Paola started this journey in October of 2022, when we approved Landwork Studios from the RFQ to start the whole process. So it's been a long time coming. On March 14th, 2023, the city council approved phase 1, which was the mechanical room updates for the pool, and that was all done prior to the 2023 swim season. So the city's budget for the entire pool project was $2 million. And with about 64,000 was already used for phase 1. That's leaving approximately 1,645,000 for phase 2. That's also with a 15% contingency of 290,000. Phase 2 includes, but also not limited to, this is just a brief overview of minor site renovations, such as a new retaining wall and shade structure, pool enhancements such as a new slide and some spray features in our zero entry. We explored what it'd be like to get a splash pad, but costs were too prohibitive, so we kind of put splash pad in the zero entry, try to make the best of both worlds. And we are also doing some major bathhouse renovations because we feel like that is the main hub where everyone uses and everything. So that's gonna get a big makeover. Landwork Studios, which are consultant, posted the Paola Family Pool documents to Drexel Plan Room on July 31st. And the project was also on our website, and it was advertised in Miami County Republic. So that's a requirement for our purchasing policy, is to put it in our newspaper. Bids were due on September 5th at 10 a.m. at City Hall. And we received one bid from Royal Construction LLC with a base bid of $1,526,000. There were two alternatives that city staff and the consultants were exploring, and we decided would be best to utilize. The first one would be an $18,000, which is lighting upgrades, which would change all the lighting in the bathhouse to LED. We're already doing that in all our facilities, trying to be more efficient. And the second alternative is the $25,000 electrical upgrade. This is because we're adding a new slide, which will add more onto our electrical. So they're proposing go to 600 to 800 amps. That would hopefully alleviate any future problems with the new slide. Let's see here, the 0.5% retailer sales tax will be utilized for this. Obviously, this is part of our sales tax initiative. And then staff and Landwork Studios recommends the approval of the bid from Royal Construction with the base bid, or with the total bid of $1,569,000. Presented to you today is a letter from Landwork Studios, our consultants, saying that who they recommend, which I just said, Royal Construction Services, and they give a summary, which I gave also in my memo, of the budget and our alternatives. They did include in their entire total, they included the contingency, which I did not. So when you make your motion, would you please do the $1,859,000 at the total bid, so that way we have the contingency if we need it. It's still under our 2 million, which is fantastic. I don't want to use that, but worst case scenario, it's just what it's built in there for. So
Would you give that number again, please?
yes, it is on this right here. It's the bold number at the bottom.
Yes.
That 1.85.
Yep, got
And
it.
then also attaches the bid tabulation from our consultants as well. So if you wanna look at what, their engineers compared to what was proposed.
Gotcha.
If it is approved after this meeting, the contractor will be contacted tomorrow morning along with our consultants, and we will set up a pre-construction meeting as soon as possible, so they will get the go-ahead to move forward and mobilize as soon as they can. Tight timeline.
And the plan is to have it all done before full season.
That is the plan. Yes,
Hopefully it works.
we, the plan is to have it done. We have liquidated damages set to start on May 17th. It was gonna be May 1st, but due to the slide being on back order, they said they can have the new slide in no later than May 17th. So that's when liquidated damage will start. Even though the slide will be late, we'll still be able to fill the pool and start training and get it up and running. We just won't be able to have the slide yet, but yes, we're doing everything we can to stick to that timeline.
Good.
Yes.
And just as a reminder, the frog slide and the lily pads that are already new were bare. Is that where they came from?
The frog slide, the lily pad, and actually the shade structure that's coming this next season is all from Bear.
Bare grant.
Yeah, from different years. Mhm. They've been very generous.
Yes. Any other comments or questions on that? If not, is there a motion?
I'd like a motion to approve the bid from World Construction LLC in the amount of $1,859,403 for the Paola family pool renovations and authorize the necessary signatures.
I'll second.
Snail?
Aye.
Case?
Aye.
Beckman?
Aye.
Shield?
Aye.
Motion approved. The final site plan for Classmeyer storage, that we talked about a little bit of this, please.
So, at the August 15th Planning Commission meeting, commissioners voted to recommend approval of the final site plan for an 8,000 square foot open air storage facility, mainly for the, storage of boats and RVs in the off season. The site plan was completed by Aubrey Enterprises engineering firm and meets all required site area minimums, setbacks, parking. So at this time, if the council would wish to accept the planning commission's recommendation and approve the final site plan for Classmeyer storage, submitted by Classmeyer LLC.
That's it here.
Yes.
If anybody has any questions, Tucker's here. Are there any questions? I think everyone's pretty.
Yeah. Different. Bring that up.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Are there any questions? or
Yeah,
comments?
there was just one clarification, section 12.431 of the LDO allows for the waiver of the parking lot improvements in, by the planning commission. And however, anytime the city council can deem necessary to be improved for a nuisance, the parking area must be brought up to city standards of a hard surface parking area. And the planning commission did agree with that. Since it's in the industrial, zoning district, it is surrounded by other gravel parking lots currently, and so the intended use is storage, so it wouldn't, the permeable surface wouldn't change any.
Okay. If there aren't any questions, is there a motion?
I move to approve the final site plan for Classmeyer storage at 119 West Baptiste Drive, Classmore LLC applicant.
A second.
Snail?
Aye.
Case?
Aye.
Beckman?
Aye.
Shield?
Aye.
All right, motion passed. And this is an item that we added. The old water treatment plant, Warworks Road.
Yes.
You guys have you got a memo today, but there's a copy of it on your desk also.
Yes, so thank you for your patience with this memo, by the way. We've had discussions many times in the past on selling the water treatment plant. We have had to put on hold for a long time due to water rights. We have gotten those all figured out. We got them transferred away from the city, so we no longer have water rights down there, so now we're clear, free to sell it. The water treatment plant located at 201 Waterworks Road was built in 1921. It is when the city operated and created their own water. It ceased operations in 2009 after the development of the Public Utility Authority. Therefore, the plant has remained under the city's ownership, but has remained vacant, other than maybe some Christmas light decoration storage, for many, many years, obviously. There are currently 2 parcels that make up that property down there. Each parcel is just over 7.5 acres. One parcel has the old plant on it, and right across the railroad tracks, the other parcel has the old settlement pond on it, which was used for settlementation back when it was operational. Attached, you will see the 2023 Miami County appraisals for both of those pieces. I also have them summarized right under on this memo as well. So parcel 1 with the land and treatment plant, the appraised value for the land is $30,720, and the building is a whopping $5,000, which is not surprising. And the parcel with the land and the pond is appraised at $38,490. In an effort to eliminate any favoritism and promote transparency, the staff recommends that the property be advertised for sale by sealed bid. And in order to cover the cost of the engineering work that the city has had to have done to place a minimum bid of at least $18,000. Due to the age of the facility and the paperwork behind it, the deed was handwritten in nice fancy cursive that no one could read. And it marked property lines with trees and rocks, which were no longer there. So we had to hire McClure to come in and give us a new boundary line survey, a new legal. And we also had to have our easements recorded, so that way we can still access the property for some public utilities we have on there. So that is where the $18,000 came in. We asked our city attorney what is the best way we can sell it, and he gave us this lovely state statute, KSA 12101, stating that the city can essentially sell it in the best manner they believe is possible. That's summarizing the whole statute right here, but that is how he summarized it for us. So therefore, the staff recommends setting a minimum sale value by motion to be published with the advertised for the sale of property. So we're just asking for the council to, by motion, set what you believe should be the minimum amount, so we can move forward and get it published.
That's probably the one building I've heard that the appraisal went down.
Yeah, it did, it was down.
I thought at our work session, 70,000 was mentioned.
It was 70,000 was mentioned, and that was the appraised value of the land of each put together.
And covering our expenses.
Yeah.
But you can't make official motion out of work study, it has to be
Yeah, I
here.
know.
Yes, but yes, you are correct, at work study, 70,000 was mentioned.
And that's for all the property.
Yes, both
parcels.
parcels, yes.
One thing I would like council to consider is $38,000 of the appraisal is the pond. And I believe anybody that's gonna be bidding on this is probably not even gonna use it. And a lot of it's in floodplain. So I feel like a lower amount would make more sense to get maybe more interest. But it's ultimately up to you guys. I would like to see us closer to the 35, that's the land and the treatment plant appraisal.
Are you gonna instruct staff to do that? Because right now, we're just setting a minimum.
And that's all you have to do is set the minimum, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys just need to decide what you want the minimum to be. We all agree that we need to recover our costs.
Yes.
That's a no-brainer. And that was 18,000, but we need to see where we want to, what we want to put out there. That's you guys. You're the ones that have the vote.
I know we need rid of it. But we've seen over the last few years, we've been losing money in certain areas and stuff. And I think we need to recoup any place we can recoup, so I think we need to cover our expenses.
Which is 18,000.
I think we need to do a little more than that.
The land's worth more than that. Total, what's the total acreage down there?
Let's see, about 15.
15. 15
15
acres.
Mhm. Probably just
A
right.
lot of it is in floodplain, so keep that in mind.
But it hasn't.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Well, I know that, but
The water treatment plant, the parcel water treatment plant is 7.58 acres. And the parcel with the pond is 7.61 acres.
Well, if somebody tore the building down, they'd have 7.5 acres that could be used for housing.
No,
No,
no, because, the building essentially, the only thing that's not in the floodplain over there. So their building space is very limited. So it's, the building and then towards the railroad tracks is about the only thing they can build on.
and it is industrial.
It is undiminished.
Well, you're looking at 76 if we take all of that together, if it's approximately.
I don't think we need to go that high, but I want to make sure that we cover our expenses and get something out of it to help with the city.
Well, it's going out for sealed bid,
So
so
we
the
get whatever
minimum we're gonna give,
is what we put as minimum.
okay. And you wanna set that at 20 or 25 or higher,
higher.
I think higher.
35?
I'm not trying to be greedy, but I mean, Fort Kirk's gonna have to find someplace else to store his Christmas.
Oh, they're not there anymore. You found
No,
out.
no, no.
Because I thought this was gonna happen a while back.
Yeah, we've been trying to get everything in the ducks in the row.
I mean, that's a lot of acreage.
Yeah,
For, 30,000. I mean, I, again, trying not to be greedy when, we're talking
and
about
it may
money
be in
all
the
night.
floodplain, but I don't recall it having flooded for a long time.
But there's still.
I know it's a
there's still
floodplain.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they use the building, it's hard to do anything else, because we've recently looked at demolition costs and they're out there too.
Well, and that's, maybe that's where I'm leaning more toward the 35, just because if they're gonna use that building, it's gonna cost. You know, it's gonna cost them, they're not gonna be able to just go in there and use it. Probably, unless they're gonna, I don't know. So, like I said, it's up to you guys,
And this is the minimum
minimum, so
that will.
people can still put their best foot forward, but I think you eliminate some possibilities if you set it too high.
No, not really.
You guys can do.
What about 45?
No,
What?
I really think the 18,000
Oh,
is the minimum. And let them come in, whatever above that, we don't have to accept the bid.
That's very true. We
You don't have to take the
accept any bid if you
Yeah.
don't want to, if you don't like it when it comes. That's very true.
We can come back, if it doesn't bring anything in, we can come back and raise it up and do it again, but
This is on your timeline, so if
Yeah.
it comes through and you guys
And the
don't like.
bids don't come in with their proposal of what they're gonna use the land for, do they? They just come in with a
No.
dollar amount.
Just a dollar.
just what they're gonna pay for it.
They can do that. What was
Maybe
that
I
you
have
said?
to approve, but I mean, we probably won't post it like.
Yeah.
If we put the
It's not
minimum
required.
at just the 18,000 or whatever, then it's not fair to whoever bids on it if we actually want more than that. So I'd say, let's set it like 30 or 35,000 and go from there.
For the
Yeah,
land and treatment plan's about 35.
I'd just feel guilty if somebody bid 19,000 and we said, oh, that's not enough. And didn't
Well, it
accept their
would be
bid.
enough for Kathy.
yeah,
And I do agree, we need to get it off our books because we're paying insurance on it and everything else.
Mhm.
how much insurance do we pay on it?
We dropped everything we possibly could. So I don't know, it becomes a liability. Yeah, it's just liability now.
35. 35.
I propose.
35.
35.
Okay, somebody
Yeah.
make a motion.
Yeah.
Can I report Kathy?
Debbie, make a motion.
I move that how do I word that? Where's that?
It's on there.
Okay, there it is. I move to set the minimum sale value for 201 West or Waterworks Road and adjoining pond property at 35,000 and advertise the sale of the property.
I'll second.
Smale,
Aye.
Ace,
Aye.
Peckman,
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed, thank you. Next, we have staff reports. Chief Corbin, anything?
We hired a new employee, Rick Lyles, is our newest employee. We'll start the academy August 30th. Or October 30th, I'm sorry. So we're excited to have him on board.
But how many are you still down?
I just keep him sick. So.
It's been a long time.
That's first time in 3 years.
Long time.
2018. So, since 2018.
That's,
Yeah,
it's exciting.
We're ecstatic. Once we get everybody out on the street, hopefully our overtime will go down, people start taking vacations and
Yeah.
breathe a little sigh of relief.
Our budget can breathe.
Yes,
Yeah.
once you can breathe, yeah.
More tickets issued.
They are young and eager, I will say that.
Nothing wrong with that.
You all have done a good job of filling the gaps
Yeah.
in the meantime.
Tickets they write, the safer the streets are. Our accident rates always correlate with how many tickets we write.
Very true.
Kirk?
We had a traffic signal that gave us some trouble overnight, but it is fixed. Had a wire burn on it, we never had one, had to do that, and this is like new.
The brand new one?
New
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So that's fixed. We do have the old tower down for maintenance. They're gonna work it out and inspect it tomorrow, so. The PRV's on 3 hydrants around town. It's gonna be digging over water overnight, but so hopefully as long as about that, we know about it. That's all I got.
So the traffic, was it warranted or did it do that kind of thing?
Oh,
No, we had to pay for it. Okay. Perfect.
I told them, because we had to have capital come down, we did all we could do, worked with the signal guys, Mid-America Signal, but we had the capital come out, because they take care of the ones on the square, wherever you, so I reached out to them, and I told the guys, you know, my understanding is you guys put these in, your company put these in, these are lifetime warranty, and he laughed at me, so. I
Okay.
kind of expected that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was
Worth a
fun.
try, yeah. All right, Jessica?
Planning Commission meets next Tuesday. We have a public hearing for a conditional use permit, down at the mobile home park. We'd like to stop in and.
Where is it again?
The mobile home park down on South Gold Street.
Okay, gotcha. I
Yeah,
just
so
wanna
next
make
Tuesday.
sure we were-
Yeah.
And it's at 5.
Yeah, next Tuesday at 5.
RVs.
Yes, to allow for two lots to have RVs.
Here at 5 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have that I have been communicating with Rick Zingray with Zingray Associates. He is who we're working with to get architect and engineered plans for the Shipman building. It's weird, I don't know what else to call it other than Shipman building, 115 West Via.
The new city building.
Yeah, I guess it is the new city building. So he is working as fast as he can. Unfortunately, we're not his only project, which kind of stinks, but he is continuously sending me questions such as possibly shortening the building. What do you want the front to look like? What do you want this? So he can have it all ready to propose to everyone. So he's working hard for us. So just want to give everyone an update on that.
Thank you.
So we used to attend what was called the League Dinner. It's now called the City Forum. They have the option of a lunch or a dinner. So this year they run in Olathe on October 23rd is a Monday. It is a lunch. So the registration begins at 10:30 and they adjourn at 2. So if anybody would like to attend that, please let me know. I can also send that out in the email and we can make a plan and go to the City Forum.
That's the only one that's even relatively close.
Pittsburgh is the next closest one, and that is a dinner, so
What day is that?
that's a Monday, October 23rd.
You need to know by as soon as possible.
Yes, I'll try to remember to send out an email just to get your thoughts on that if you'd like to go. And then get us registered.
All right, Dave, do you have anything?
One thing I have is, I know you guys don't like me speaking out, but I thought they should actually know how frugal the city does on their budgets and stuff, and has ever since I've been here anyway.
Well, public hearings.
And I apologize for speaking.
Public hearing's a little different than public comment though.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, we make public comments?
No.
What was it?
Public hearing, it was during the public hearing about the budget.
Oh, man, you missed your chance.
I have a reference here.
I figured it's because he's not.
He's getting ready to go.
Yeah, he's going.
Pick your battles. Pick your battles. Debbie, do you have
I'm
anything?
good, thank you.
Kathy?
None.
Leanne, do you have anything?
Well, I've said this before, but I think Park Square just looks wonderful. The vines and those big circular planters that you put out, it's great.
The only thing I have, just thanks for all the work on the budget again, you guys and this group. It was we worked well through that.
It's a big relief.
Yeah, it was a big hurdle to get behind us.
I have to go back, I do have something actually. Mr. Doolittle and I have been in contact again with Jefferson Highway, and we have not
Oh,
dropped
great.
that. And so we have a meeting coming up, and they would like to come down and visit with city staff, the mayor, and possibly be on the broadcast, like one of their little radio shows, and ask some questions, and pick out a couple spots for 2 signs, possibly in the city.
That
Gotta be
reminds me,
careful about those
I have-
signs.
I had to take a detour through Harrisonville
Did you see
yesterday,
one?
and I saw one. And I
Aren't
took
they
a picture of it,
awesome?
so.
Thank
I have
you.
I have a,
Email it to Mr. Doolittle, if you think about it,
Yeah.
he would love that, and then that'll just
Yeah.
kind of keep
I
things
saw it
going.
on a detour yesterday, I took a picture. I go, hey, I know what that is.
Thank you. I'll give it to Doolittle.
All right, that's all I have, so motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second.
Sam?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Beckman?
Aye.
Shield?
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned. Yeah, I wrote